Test 1, 2, 3. Did that do it? I have a feeling it did. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Still not. Let's see here. Stop. Edit audio avatar. 1, 2, 3. Hang on a sec. Good. You have sound. Okay. I had thought I was going to start this by just sharing my Vassal screen, so I did not add my webcam to the telecast, and the sound apparently goes with it, and that is why we don't have sound. Okay, so I will backtrack and go over the last couple of minutes. All right. So anyway, when we last left, we have here Heath's division coming on in force. Archer's forces have been kind of rebuffed with significant losses here to a couple of units. They've already got one collapsed, one on the brink, but they have a very, very capable Pettigrew brigade right in behind them. And of course, we have Buford's cavalry, which are in good position, but they do have some issues relative to disorder here on Hers Ridge. And we also have, just entering Gettysburg from the south, we have the first Union reinforcements under Wadsworth. And further back, we have Robinson's division, also of the First Corps, in tow. And we are at now 10 o'clock. And first thing I did was to start the log file, then I rolled for initiative, and it ended in a tie. So no one has initiative. So now we are at the efficiency stage. So let's draw for the Confederates first. We'll put them all in there. And draw out, not that one. We want the Confederate order of battle chart, and we want to draw efficiency. Oh no. Darn it. This is not what I wanted to do. So let's try to draw the Union ones out at one time and draw out one Confederate chit here for efficiency for AP Hill, and the Confederates will draw a 3. Then we will draw the rest of the Confederate units out of the hat, leave them there, toss all the Union ones in, and we will draw now for Buford's cavalry here. And we will then also draw for Reynolds' Corps here. And now we'll have a look at it. Reynolds' Corps has 3, and Buford, who drew 2 consecutive 1s to begin the game, get another 1. Wow. That is amazing. I've never seen Buford draw so poorly ever. Usually there's a problem with the Confederates because AP Hill, who is the Corps commander, is not on the map, and in fact will not arrive until the end of this turn. So Heath's division is kind of banjacks, and they get one fewer um, initiative normally until AP Hill shows up. So that usually hampers his operations quite a bit, but he's doing much better than Buford is doing. Okay, so we will first start by putting both the USA and the Confederate march chits in. And now we will have, let's see, that was the 3, I believe. 3 for AP Hill. So that leaves Heath with 2 activations. So I will drag 1 in there. Should probably have another one in the Confederate AMs for Heath. He will have 2. Buford will have 2 as well, because Buford is a very able commander, and he adds 1 activation on his own initiative. So for Buford, I will just take both of these AMs from last turn and drop those in. And then we have both divisions of Reynolds Corps, who actually, I believe they're both, or all 3 of those divisions are going to stay in March. So I'm not going to bother putting their activation chits into the hat, even though I should. We're just going to try and keep things going a little bit quicker and have them only activate on the March chit instead of having to ignore a lot of divisional chits that I would otherwise draw from the hat. Okay, now we go to the orders phase. And before we do that, we determine who is in or out of command. So here on the Confederate side, we have no issues other than the fact that AP Hill is not on the map. The division commander, Heath, is, let me stow this. Heath is here, and he is stacked with the Pettigrew Brigadier counter, and he is well within range of Archer's counter. In fact, the only thing I will do for them is to reduce their shock combat. Reset it. And let's see, also Davis is going to be also within range. And then using the road, we can also get back here to Broken Bro, who's in March. So Confederates are in good shape, but Pegram, however, is out of command. So he will actually not suffer anymore. All of the Heath brigades will still only get 2. You don't get an additional penalty for being out of command of the division commander when the corps commander is not on the map. All right. Now for Buford, I remember we needed to sort out command issue of Devon being out of command. Let's see, his radius is 7, 1, 2, 3. He is now in command. Devon is fine. And 1, or using the road, 1, 2. So, yep. Gamble is also fine. And for the Union, let's see. I think we're good there. Our corps commander is kind of in the middle of both of his units. They're Reynolds there, and he is, see, I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's actually out of command here, Wadsworth, but as long as he stays in March, he will still be able to choose the number of activations he wishes to use. Let's go back down the road the other way, and that's far enough, I believe, for Robinson also to be out of command and needing to use his march orders. I believe we have some reinforcements coming on at, no, we do not. 10 o'clock, we have these Union reinforcements, which entered immediately. They're variable and by die roll, and they entered immediately. They would have come on automatically this turn if they had not come on earlier. So they're still out of command as well, but under march orders. Okay, so now we have to decide for the units that are in command, they get a free order change if they wish to use it. Other units would have to roll on the order change when they are activated to change their order status. So let's go back up here to the front. Buford is going to remain in advance orders since he's basically still defending. Heath is going to, I believe he's going to change Pettigrew over to attack orders so that he doesn't have to risk trying to do it in the middle of the turn. He is going to rescind Archer's attack orders and drop him back to advance orders. And the artillery are always in advance orders. Let's see what to do with Broken Bro. I think we will drop him out of March and put him in advance. So there's your order segment. Everybody's ready to go. And so now, hang on, I'm going to check the comments. Let's see. Okay. Well, thanks for the comment there, John Longshore. I hope you're enjoying the fact that I'm kind of doing this from a game mechanics perspective, and I plan to continue that since I'm playing this solitaire and then playing both sides. I'm going to kind of mention what I'm trying to do for each side and assumptions I might be making if I were playing opposed, and also try to translate that into game terms. So the reason that I took Archer out of attack is that I plan to move him out of the way. He's already kind of shot up. His troops aren't the best. So I thought, well, maybe we'll move them off to the side and add some pressure to stretch Buford out a little bit. And also to use this brigade down here, Davis, to do the same on the other side and see if we can't get Buford to give up that hill position by him moving rather than us having to force him off of that hill. And also the Pettigrew Brigade behind here, as you can see, they're very large and they have very high cohesion, 7s and 8s. So these are excellent shock troops, if you will. So I want to get Archer out of the way and then ram them down the road if it's still necessary to move them back that way. All right, so now we're set to begin the turn, and as no one has initiative, we will draw for the first activation, and it is the Confederate March Chant. Very interesting, because in the previous turns, the Confederate March Chant has always been the last activation out of the cup. Well, we have moved all of the Confederate units out of March, so that basically doesn't happen. So we go to the next one, and we get Buford activating first. All right, so Buford is now going to, I'm going to get rid of this note marker because I put that there because Devon had to sit out in activation last turn because he was out of command. So we're going to remove that note. Everybody's in command. Buford does not need to risk a roll to try to coordinate both of his brigades. So he will do them one after the other. And let's see. What kind of mischief can we get into? The artillery unit is still well placed, although I kind of liked him up on this little knoll here more so than in the middle of the road. So let's see if we can get him there this turn. If we use the road, 1, 2, 3. Let's see what artillery pay to enter a orchard. Terrain effects says that artillery pay 2, same as in clear terrain. Pikes are road 1. Okay, so that's good. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we have some issues here with units being disordered. Let's remove the shock marking here from this unit. Reset shock. There we go. All right. So I still don't want to put Buford on the front line, even though his 2 stars could aid greatly in rallying those units. It's still not good to risk him there. So we will start out by I'm going to move this unit here. First, I will have him face, and he'll move there. Check is facing there. Then we're going to move the artillery here. Going to spend 1 movement point to reverse his course there, which is moving more than 1 hex vertus. So whenever you move more than 1, which is free, you pay 1 movement point to move more than 1. So that's 1. Then the road costs 1 each, so 2. Free facing change, 3, 4 along the road, and then he's going to pull up into here, 6, and a free facing change there. Now he's got some artillery nearby and possibly a better vantage point to punish the Confederates moving down the road. And actually, no, that looks good. This unit, I've been wondering whether or not to dismount them. I still like the fact that they might be able to pull off a cavalry charge if the Confederates get too frisky. So I think what I'll do is move him up here onto the high ground. A movement point Good pirouette there. And he kind of can see better down the road and into this sloping terrain there near the Weirman farm. I'm not exactly sure what the name of that is. Let's zoom in. Yes, Weirman. Now for the all-important rallies. We're going to have first this unit here rally under his own initiative. He needs a 5 or less. He rolls and gets a 0, so he is restored back to his full cohesion. And then underneath him, we have the 8th Illinois A unit, which also has a 5 disordered cohesion, and then Gamble will reduce the roll, so basically he needs a 6 or lower to rally, and he achieves that. So he flips and can also change his facing by 1. So now Gamble's in good shape and online and ready to face the next Confederate assault. Now we will activate Devon, and let's have him form up over here, perhaps, to add a little bit of starch to the line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This little run doesn't cost anything. Oops. 5, 6, 8, 9, and we'll use him that way. And we'll move this unit up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Moving 7, 8 into the orchard. Move this little unit. Oh, no, he can't get there. You can only have, I believe, 4 strength points of mounted cavalry in a hex, or an entire regiment. So we'll move these up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And finally this unit, go around the orchard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 9 into the orchard there. I think what we'll do with Buford now that we're a little centralized, is move him there, use this unit to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 2 to get through the unit that's there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they will kind of serve as a guard for Buford. Devon will stack here. And that's going to be it for Buford. Buford's in good shape. All right. And so we'll bring up the Union card. We'll move this here to show that he has spent an activation. And now we will pull the next one. And Heath activates now for the first time. All right. So as I stated, my plan here is to move Archer out of the way and move Pettigrew up for the assault. So let's start with this collapse unit, which is only one strength point. He's just going to do a little pirouette there. That's 1, 2, what does that cost for the marsh? 2. So that's 4. And then he will pirouette back like that. We'll take his collapse marker with him. He's done and out of the way. We're going to move this unit here. 1, 2, 3, and form up there. Move this unit 1, refacing change 2, refacing change 3, refacing change, and wondering what to do here. Well, let's finish moving the rest of the unit out of the way. 2, 4, that's another bog hex. 5 there. And Archer is out of the road here. He's going to try to rally this unit here, who has a 4 cohesion. Archer reduces the roll by 1 because he's a brigadier. We get a 6. So that becomes a 5, so the unit still fails. That's not real good for Archer. However, he still has these units within his range across the road. All right, so there's that. Now, we're going to move down here to Davis's large brigade. I think I'm going to move these guys around these woods to start a flanking maneuver. So let's first try this. We've got to swing him around. Brings the extended line marker with it. And that costs 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to swing around again such that this unit does that. He goes there for 5 movement points. And then we'll move into 6. This large regiment here has a very low cohesion. That's why I'm kind of keeping it as a reserve, kind of out of the line of fire. Let's see what we do here. We're going to remove the extended line marker, collapse the unit. So it has to move into the hex with Davis. And to do that costs 1 movement point. Then we will change facing 2, 3, 4, and then 6 into the woods. I think this is a better facing. 6. We'll move our reserve unit 1, 2. Again, these little runs here don't cost anything. 3, 4. I'll move him there. 5 behind the woods. Let's see. And Davis, I want to keep him here so that he is within 4 leader movement points of both this unit and this unit, so they're all in command. And, well, Heath is going to have to move a little closer to keep the rest of the brigade in command, but we have time to fix those issues if we need to. And that's all for that brigade. And now finally we have Pettigrew, who is under attack orders. So one of the effects of attack orders, in addition to reducing your movement allowance to half the printed, which is 6, so their movement allowance is only 3. The other effect of that is because you are in attack formation, which assumes a line rather than a column that can use the road, you have to pay the full movement point cost for every hex, even if there's a road or a trail. Also, if you want to change direction while you're within a wood, you don't get the free one vertus swivel or change of direction that you normally get. You have to pay for that as well. So it's one movement point to change facing in a woods hex. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to basically push up and get ready for an assault here. So we're going to move 1, change facing, 2, 3, change facing there. We don't need the extended line. That goes away. That's 3 for him. He now doesn't have a shot because he's right behind where this ridge changes to lower terrain. So he's kind of tucked in behind the ridge. The unit behind him, let's see what kind of terrain there. Okay, that's still clear. 1, 2, 3, and he now faces a vertus. He also sheds his extended column marker. And this unit, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll move Pettigrew there. It's a very large unit, and he had 2 extended column markers behind him, and they will dutifully move up 3. I went off of the road so as to avoid the orchard. Well, actually, no, orchard only costs the infantry 1, 2, so I'll go there instead more directly. Get rid of that. Now we have Broken Bro here, and let's see, where do we put them? Let's keep, well, these are pretty poor quality troops again. So let's have them to back up Pettigrew here on the, what is forming up to be the left. They are in advance orders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And actually need to change the facing so they're facing a vertus rather than a hex side as they move off the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Broken Bro. We'll have him stop here and stay on the road. He still has everyone within his radius, which is a pretty sad 3. 1, 2. Well, actually, this one unit would be out. So maybe he needs to stay there. Instead, there's that. And now we have the artillery, which is out of command. But we got to start them moving off and onto the road. So let's get that started. 2 to enter a clear hex. Then they can start to use the road. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll move Pegram there. You can make it easily. This unit will pivot 2, 4 to get to the road. Change facing 5, 6, 7, 8. These guns 2, 4, 6 to the road, and 2 along the road for 8. And this one dragged along the ridge 2, 4, 6, 8, and can only make the road. And we are now done with Heath's division. All right, checking my comments. No other comments, so I assume everyone is on board with what's going on. And we go back to our draw pools and we move our Heath activation here. Stow that and see who comes out of the hat next. And it is Heath again. He has gotten consecutives, and we've had a number of consecutive ones, and that's going to help out immeasurably. Now, as a Confederate player, we know that 2 is the maximum number of activations. So, actually, no, everyone can use both of them. Even though Pegram is out of command, he does not suffer an additional loss because of the loss of a activation for the entire division. That's due to the fact that the corps commander is not on the map. So everyone in the division is affected, and so everyone has 1 fewer than they should. So he does not lose an additional activation because he is also out of command relative to the division commander. So Pegram can move even though he is out of command. All right, let's see what we're going to do here. We have a chance to start a nice assault here, and we could attempt to bring Davis into it, but Davis would have to change orders on his own initiative, and that is a little bit risky, also because of the fact that he is a cautious commander, which could lead to a withdrawal if we roll number to change his orders on his own initiative. But we have to decide that now before anybody moves, and we have to also decide whether to risk coordination. I don't think we're going to risk coordination, but we will try to have Davis read Heath's mind and start an assault right here. So we will start with that, and we will have Davis try to change orders on his own volition. And as you can see on Davis's counter, in the little white box with a 0 on it, That means that he does not modify the die roll for changing orders. So now we will bring in our handy dandy order change chart. And here it is over here. And we will roll 1d10 and we get a 4. This is great because it's going to be very illustrative of some of the often unseen little wrinkles of the system. 4 is not modified because Davis adds no modifier. And if we look on our order change, the result of 4 is a loose cannon. What a loose cannon is a brigadier kind of reverting to form. And because Davis has a C for cautious, the effects of being a loose cannon for him are that he retreats each unit in the brigade 1 hex, after which he places the brigade under advance orders. So they're already under advance, but cautious Davis decides, well, let's not be too hasty here, and he has all of his units back up a hex. Instead of perhaps this unit being able to move right onto the flank of this cavalry unit, they all back up a hex. So now we see our first loose cannon result, and that's not what the Confederates want. However, we will now move on to Pettigrew's brigade, who have just been placed into march, and they are now close enough to try and make an assault. And they've got plenty of men. They've got 12 strength points here. Coming up behind, they've got 11 more, but I think they are 1, 2, 3, just out of range. So this is the only unit that will actually be able to get close enough for an assault. But there are other complicating factors. Once he pops up on the ridge here, he will be within range of this battery, which is atop the little knoll here. And they will be able to fire on him if he gets any closer than range 3. Here, 1, 2. Well, actually, if he gets here, he won't be within his frontal fire zone. So the effect of that is that this unit can't easily go around and gain the flank. You would think that his best move would be something like this, to get on the flank of that unit. However, to get there, he would have to go here first, and then this artillery unit would be able to fire on him. So now we're starting to see some tactical elements come into play. If he goes there and then there, he will be outside of the frontal fire zone of this artillery unit, but he'll have to make a frontal assault. And they've got 9 strength points in that hex. They've got only 5 in this hex. So this kind of looks like the weak link. Unfortunately, if he ends up in this hex to make the assault, he would have to attack both of these units. So, starting to appear like there aren't a lot of really great tactical moves he can make here other than to just start the softening up process. Or he could also wait for these other units to move up and start a more concerted attack next turn. That actually seems to be the most prudent thing to do. So this unit will move up 1, 2, 3 to the base of the slope. Pettigrew will move in with them. This unit will move up 1, 2, 3, quite a bit closer. This unit will also inch up a little bit closer. And I believe that's it for the brigade. Yep, that's it for the brigade. Let's also change his facing so that he is facing a vertex instead of a hex side. So now we can see that the caution there caused by Davis is kind of caused an overall caution, if you will. Okay, let's see. Archer. Archer is going to kind of lose patience with this disordered unit there. He leave them to their own devices, and he's going to get back with the rest of his men and then leave this unit to kind of head for the rear by itself. I'll go 1, 2, 3 for the marsh, 4, facing change, 5, facing change. And that's all for them. Let's see. Oh, I did forget this unit. They will move 1, 2, 3. There. Go. Not sure where to put our division commander Heath yet, so we'll move into Broken Bro. I don't think he's activated yet. Or has he? No, he's only moved the once. So they're going to add more weight over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could get there that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll move in with them for 6. And now they have 10 strength points in the hex. They can get up to 15 into a hex. And this oversized unit is actually overstacked, but you can always have one unit that is gargantuan regardless of size. It's just that this unit can never stack with another unit until it starts to take some casualties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Broken Bro himself will be there. We'll move the artillery up here onto this ridge, and then they can fire over the heads of some of their men and maybe start a duel with this artillery there. So let's start with this battery. I think there are 2 of them there. Yep, there are. Oh, there we go. Okay, on the road. 1, 2, 3, 4. The left for 5. Then move out here to 7. Move these down the road. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Move them down the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the crossroads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there. Pekin himself has a radius of 4. So that's a good central position. there. And we are done with Heath again. So I will click the button to remove all the movement markers. We will again clean up by moving Heath's marker there and picking the next one. Buford finally activates again. This is his second activation and final activation as well. Whoops, moved a little bit too far. Okay, what's Buford going to do? Well, the Confederates aren't moving on him. They're starting to inch around the flank. So now he's got to start thinking about, okay, do we hold this position or do we cede Belmont Ridge without a fight? If we back up there, it's actually going to be out of range because Pettigrew in attack is going to be slowed down to just 3 movement points. So if we move back to, say, this ridge here, where Buford is, they'll be able to gain the ridge, but they won't be able to assault us moving further. Davis, starting around this flank, he could come pouring through the trees here and hit us. So now the question is whether we back away or not. What to do, what to do. Everybody's in good order. I still like the idea of this cavalry unit holding the threat of being able to launch a cavalry charge. So I'm going to have him stay mounted, do a little pirouette for 1, 2, 3. And then Woods costs cavalry 3. So that'll be 6. Another pirouette, make 7. And they'll stay there. Gonna have him basically do an about face for 1. That becomes 2. And reface that way for 3. They're going to back up here. They're going to back up here and back up there to form more of a line. And that looks good. Okay. And now I'm going to have this artillery here start to try and do some more damage. He has no visibility to Pettigrew's guys behind Schoolhouse Ridge because, oops, let's see here. He is actually at a lower terrain than this ridge. This ridge will block everything beyond it, but there are some troops here that are on this ridge, so this unit here can be seen. This unit cannot, but this target looks to be as good a target as any. So we have a range of 6 here, and it actually goes along the spine of this hex, which effectively blocks it. The rule is if you have a line of sight that perfectly goes between 2 hexes, one of which is clear, one of which is blocked, you go by the worst result. So that line of sight is blocked. They can't see anything there. And okay. Thought they'd have a better field of fire. They're going to have to wait till those units come over. Which ridge is this now? Schoolhouse Ridge. It's a continuation of it. All right, now Devon is placed over here. He's actually in good shape. Should they dismount or should they? No, I think they will stay there mounted. I think they're in good shape there. All right, now Buford knows this is his last activation, so he's going to do a quick check to make sure his brigadiers are both within his command radius of 7 leader movement points, and both of them are. Devon's along the road, so no issues there. Everyone's in command. Devon's in a good spot. He's on the road as well. Everything's good there. So he's done. So we will now get the Union one out. Move this there. And we have the USA March chit. And also it seems like we have a third Heath chit in the hat, which we should not. I believe he's already used 2 activations. His efficiency is 3, but it's reduced because the Corps Commander AP Hill is not on the map. He only gets 2. So actually this chit, which I believe is going to be the last one for the turn, is not going to be used. Yes, indeed it is not. And we will delete it. So the USA March chit is going to be our final one of the turn. And that's basically everybody except for Buford. So let's start at the head of the column here. And let's also consider that the Union are in march, but they're strung out and out of command, at least for now. What that means is they cannot use the free order change at the beginning of the turn to get out of march until they solve their commander issue. They don't want to be caught near the enemy in march. But seeing as Buford is holding very well in front, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So I think they can move up here to relieve Buford and to start to form a line, because they have already been sort of alerted to the fact that more Confederates are probably coming from the north or the northeast behind Heath. So let us zoom out a little bit so we can see more of the map. And let's plot some movement for them. Still a lot of road, a couple of miles outside of the road before we get to Buford. Starting a position up here to stave off any reinforcements that might come. Maybe this unit wants to be in this area here to the west of Oak Hill. So maybe they want to take this road out of town and go through. Okay. That sounds like a good position to strive for. So we are going to stay in march. We're going to stay on the pikes and the road. We are now on a road, which is 1 movement point in march. The pike is a half. So let's move 3 activations worth of movement, which will be 18 road hexes if they never leave the road, and see where that gets us. Start here, and I got to zoom in so I can see where my hexes are. Kind of hard to see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, but these are still pike hexes. So a third, that's still only 2 movement points. That would be a third. 4, 5, 6, that's 1 activation's worth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 activations worth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 activations worth. That looks good. And we will zoom out a bit and move the rest of the column with it by the brigade. Whoops. Come on. There we go. There we are. And we will fill up road hexes. Let's see if they fall naturally there. No, they won't. Whoops. That one. And we have that one. Sharp here. Good. All right. And that's it for that division. Reynolds doesn't move yet, but will soon. And then coming in behind, we have these units here on the pike. Robinson's artillery, which can really make hay. They can move actually up to 4 without fatigue. Artillery are not subject to fatigue. So 4 8s are 32. That'll be 32 hexes from this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 31. So basically they can reach there. Boom. Okay, these units are subject to fatigue, but they're on a pike, which is a half. So that basically gives them 12 hexes per activation. 12 times 3, 36 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 22, 23, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 31, 4, right up behind the artillery. There. Here. Okay. All those reinforcements, and then up here, you have this unit under march orders. Let's see. Yeah, let's have them come up on the flank of the Confederates here and cause a little mischief. They don't want to get their fangs out too far. Let's see. Davis is cautious and isn't going to get far, but it would be a good risk for him to try and fall upon a march column if he got the chance. So what we're going to do is we're going to move them to this point behind the orchard and stop them there. Also, well, let's see. We've got the rest of the division is forming up here. We don't want them to have to fight their way into position. So maybe even in these woods might be their end destination. Maybe going around and through here might be a better way to do it. This is a road. This is a pike. Let's plot this a little differently. Okay, roads are 1, pikes are a half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1 activation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 2 activations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 3 activations worth to get there. Yeah, this crossroads there looks like a good spot. So we will place them here and start building out our column here. Okay. Still don't see any comments, so I assume everyone is informed and entertained. And darn, I hear it's proving difficult. So get rid of that. We know the March column is out of command. All right. So let's pop out our overview, find out where we are. So the main body of trailing reinforcements here for First Corps got to here, so they're about a mile south of Gettysburg proper. The first reinforcements to enter have gone around kind of a little button hook and are here with an eye towards getting into this area in the woods here to form on line. The first reinforcements have gone through Gettysburg and are forming up here to the west of Oak Hill. And that's where we are. So that's the final activation, and now we have the leader movement segment, and that's going to consist of Reynolds here moving 20 hexes to try and catch up to some of his men. Let's see where that will leave him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. About here. It's not going to put anybody in command, so he might as well use all 40 of his movement points and get to a position where he can be stacked with one of the division leaders to put them in command. So it'll either be Wadsworth here or Doubleday here. Probably doesn't want to hang back with the later arrivals. I think it might be more important for this unit to be in command Wadsworth, because that's where Confederate reinforcements are going to be coming within an hour or so. So they definitely don't want to be caught in the march column. So let's see how many movement points it'll take to get Reynolds up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. He will definitely make that within 40. So he goes there. However, let's see if I didn't place that on him. I think I have a overmove marker though. Commander, extended move. Now we know that his radius is effectively 0 for the next turn. Now, since this was the 10 o'clock turn, I believe, if I look on the reinforcement table for the Confederates, I will see that A.P. Hill has finally finished breakfast and will make his appearance for the Southerners. So he will pop on here, go to the Confederate counters, 3 corps, no, actually leaders, and find 1 A.P. Hill here. And he pops on with the same challenges that our Union Corps commander had. If he uses more than 10 movement points, then he's not going to have a radius. His radius is a fairly healthy 7. And seeing as all he really has to do is get where Heath is, he may be able to make it by entering here, 1 movement point, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and what do you know? He's able to stack with Harry Heath here to optimize his command for the next turn, excuse me. And that's it for the leaders. We don't have any units that are combat ineffective. So that will effectively end the turn. Okay, checking my comments. No questions. And yes, this is an expensive proposition at times, although $234 I think is a steep price to pay for this game. I would think you should be able to find it somewhere between 175 and 200, or if you're lucky, maybe even less if it's totally punched or something like that. Another bit of advice I would give to anyone looking to pick up a copy of this game is to always make sure that it is a 3rd edition game. You don't want a 1st edition game which has a blue box, and you don't want a 2nd edition game which would be a blue box which is augmented by a kit which changes the map and the counters but still stops short of having all of the units and the rules of the 3rd edition. GMT did not really do a very good job of keeping the upgrade path intact as they advanced the series. They didn't do a large print run of the 2nd edition kit that would upgrade the 1st edition to the 2nd edition, so that's really rare and hard to find. And going from 2nd to 3rd edition, I'm not exactly sure what that entails in terms of the counters, whether any were added, but it is better to simply have a 3rd edition game to begin with and just go from there. So I will issue that caveat. Okay, let us now go to the turn record chart and move to 11 o'clock. And we remove all the moved notations on the map, and if this were an opposed game, the 2 sides, excuse me, I'm opening the wrong displays here. The 2 sides would reveal for the opponent or what their activation was to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Union player would do the same for the luckless Buford. And then you would return, whoops, the activation chits to the pool here. And actually, as you can see, when I move these efficiency chits, it is creating messages here in the buffer. So if you're using the Vassal module, the correct way to use efficiency chits is every turn you should drag the AM markers at least from this display. And then when you drag them into the hat to begin the draw, they don't make a report here. So you don't tip off to your opponent how many chits you're putting in. But since this is not an opposed game, we can do that without any problems. Let's also check the Confederate chart again and make sure, yes, he's got his 3 marker there, none others. Okay, we will move these back on there. We've got the March chit. Okay, so now we're ready to start again on the new turn. And of course, the first step is to roll for initiative. If you remember, last time we had a tie, so there are no modifications to the initiative roll. Now there could be, once the overall commanders, Lee and Meade, once they get on the map, if one of them has a initiative rating that is better than the other, that could actually add a modifier also to the die roll, but that's well in advance. So right now we have no modifiers. I'll roll for the Confederates first. They roll a 7. The Union rolls a 9. So the Union has initiative. Now, we will draw for efficiency next. The Union will first make a check of the reinforcements here. And it is 11 o'clock now. So we will have elements of 11th Corps entering the map. Schertz's division, Howard's division, Osborne's artillery, and Barlow's division are all going to enter the map, and they will start way to the south. So they will also be under march. So I'm not going to bother putting any chits in there for that because they're going to move with the march chit. So I can save myself some time by doing that. For the Confederates at 11 o'clock, what do we have? We have Pender's division, which I believe is also a part of 3rd Corps. Let us make sure, and we will open the Confederate Order of Battle, look under A.P. Hill, and see that Pender is a division under A.P. Hill. So we have no new corps to check for efficiency for the Confederates. So let's start again with the Union. We will pick, put all the efficiency into the hat. We'll draw one out for Reynolds. We'll draw one out for Buford. And keep in mind that these hats are randomizer decks. Once you place units in there, they are supposedly randomized when you put units in and also when you draw units out. However, If it turns out that Buford gets a 1, again, I'm going to start to doubt whether or not it's effectively randomizing. But let's have a look-see. So Reynolds' division has a 4 efficiency. That's very good. And Buford gets a 2. Not great, but better than the 1. And remember also Buford has a +1 to his initiative, so he bumps that up to a 3. Reynolds also has a +1 that he can loan to any of the division commanders that are in his radius, or for this turn, since the overmove stacked with him. So Wadsworth will enjoy an additional 1, but since the entire corps got a 4, 4 is the most you can get anyway. All right, now let's do efficiency for the Confederates. They're a bit simpler. They only have to draw for AP Hill. Whoops, hang on a second. Let's first get all of the Union chits out and pull them all out. Drag all the Confederates in. Then do a symbolic shaking of the hat and draw 1 out for AP Hill. Take a peek, and his efficiency is 3. That's good. AP Hill does not add anything to it, but Pender adds 1 on his own initiative, so Pender will have 4. Okay. Now here's where we start dragging efficiency markers into the hat. But before we do that, let's see some of the modifications that will happen as a result of AP Hill being on the map, and as a result of the Confederate Corps commander being where he is, and also stacked with a division commander. First of all, let's remove the Allied command here for Pegram. He is now firmly in command of Heath and also AP Hill. So AP Hill, by dint of him being stacked with Harry Heath, the only division commander that he has on the map, so obviously everybody for the Confederates is in command. We know that we've got, what's that, Pegram as a reinforcement? No, Pender. Pender is just off the map here. He will come on. He is in command. He can enter in advance if he wishes, or he can enter in march. I think I'll have him enter in advance. So he will enter, and he is, let me actually find Pender here. 3 Corps, Pender division. As you can see, he has a +1. He, just by his own initiative, adds a +1 to his activations. This 2 here is, I believe, added to order change die rolls. Let's see here. Let's make sure we get this right. It's a brigade coordination number. So if he attempts to coordinate the brigades under him so that they can activate together, kind of swamp enemy defenses, he adds 2 to the roll, which is great. It all but guarantees that he won't get a confusion roll, where everybody stands around going, "I got it, you take it." So that's good. Let's just basically stack up these brigades here. See, wow, we've got some 8 cohesion there. Got some really good troops. as you would expect. There's Perrin's brigade. Oh, wow, this is a big, big brigade. This is A.P. Hill's old light division, and I've always considered that kind of a cruel joke to call it a light division when it is seriously heavy in terms of manpower. But it has no attached artillery with it, and I think that's why they refer to it as the light division. Jim Lane, geez, look at this. They've just got troops coming out the wazoo. Here are the worst troops with only 5 cohesion here. So not all of them were supermen by any stretch of the imagination. Then we have Scales. Wow, it's a lot of brigades. There are very good ones. Okay, so I'm lining these up just to kind of get an idea of what I'm working with. And in the case of this brigade, to kind of move them further back in the line since they are of the worst quality. And as we can see here, they do have an attached artillery battalion with them. So they're not light in any sense of the word. Wow. So a lot of small sections of guns. The Confederates always tended to kind of have a hodgepodge of various guns, a lot of them captured from the Union during their successful battles. So they almost never had large batteries of the same types of weapons. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brigades and artillery coming online here with Pender, who also has 4 activations if he chooses to use them. All right, so everybody's in command, and we don't have any extra activations to dole out except for Pender, who will add one on his own. So for that reason, we're going to put 4 activation chits for Pender's division into the hat and 3 for Heath, who, as you can see from his counter, has a 0 and doesn't add any activations on his own initiative. A.P. Hill, that white 0 on the right, means also that he does not add anything to any of the division commanders underneath him. So we'll open our draw pool hat and we'll get this open. So we have Heath's division. We know, whoops, let's first clear our hat of efficiency markers for the Confederates. They'll be there for next turn. We'll put in the Confederate march because they do have the option to use it. Then we will add 3 for Heath. Whoops. 2, 3 for Heath. And for Pender, 4. All right, and that's it. Now for the Union. Let's stash this for a hot minute. And we know that we have reinforcements here for Howard's 11th Corps coming on here. And to wit, that is going to be Barlow's division. As you can see here, the 2 stars for Barlow indicate he is a division commander. The 3 stars for Howard indicate he is the corps commander. We'll also take a look at these troops and see that they are not very good. We have a bunch of 4 cohesions, and this is while in good shape. So they're not the best. These are the troops that got steamrolled at Chancellorsville on the Union left flank by Stonewall Jackson, and they still have not lived down that debacle, and apparently they have not gotten any better in the interim, so they're horrible troops. They're all going to be in March, however, so we're not going to put chits for them in the hat or even really draw their cohesion, or not cohesion, but efficiency. We're not even going to draw for that because they're going to be operating under March, and so they get to basically choose how hard they want to march. Now, for this division here, or for these divisions, we have Robinson, 2nd Division of 1st Corps. We have Doubleday, the 3rd Division of 1st Corps. And up here, coming online, we have Wadsworth of the 1st Division of 1st Corps. So all of these, I will remove his out of command marker. All of these are under Reynolds' command. Reynolds, as you remember, moved a lot during the leader movement phase, and so his radius is effectively 0. So he can only affect and keep in command any division commander that is stacked with him, and that's why I moved him here with Wadsworth. So Wadsworth is in command, and so gets a chance to take advantage of the free order change, and he's going to use that to leave march orders. But we digress. We also see that Reynolds has a +1 for his efficiency rating, and that means that he can add 1 to any of his division commanders under him that are within his radius, in this case only Wadsworth. He can give him an additional activation. But as he did that, because the Corps drew a 4 efficiency, 4 is the maximum you can get. So it kind of goes begging this turn. A little sip of beer there. All right. So we now have 4 activations for the 3 divisions of 1st Corps. And let's first decide who's going to drop out of March and who might try to change their orders under their own volition and do something different. I believe Doubleday is going to try to change his orders on his own, but he still has to wait until the March chit comes out to even try that. So the way this works is we will put the activation markers for Doubleday into the hat. 4. Or actually 3, since he's out of command and he gets 1 fewer. So we'll put 3 in there. The catch is Doubleday, being under march orders, can only try to change his orders as the first thing he does when the march chit comes out of the hat. We don't know when that's going to happen unless the Union, who have initiative, decide to use the March chit first. If they do that, then they can try to change their orders under their own initiative. Failing that, if we start picking activations out of the hat, every time we pick a Doubleday chit before we draw the March chit, that's going to be wasted. He'll never get to use it. If the March chit comes out early and he's successful in changing his orders to something other than March, then he will get to use any remaining activations that come up. That's kind of the way it works out with March orders, and that they operate on a kind of a different uh, time frame than normal activations. Okay, so the same thing also applies to Robinson here. He's out of command and in March, but he, I think, is going to stay in March, so no problems there. So really, the only divisional chits we really need to put into the hat are for Doubleday and for Wadsworth. So we'll put no, I'm not actually sure if I want the March chit to come out first or whether or not I can use the March chit first. Let me see here. Initiative. Let's go to page 6 and see if you can start with the March chit. Page 6, turn initiative. The March AM of the initiative player's side may also be chosen as the first AM. Good. Okay. So let's assume that the Union are going to start with the March chit. So it is possible then that Doubleday and also Wadsworth will change their orders and be able to use all 4 of those chits. So let's go here and we'll throw 4, or wait. Wadsworth, wait a minute. Hang on a second. Let's check the, oh yeah, they did get 4, right? Yes, they got 4. Okay, so Wadsworth gets 4. 2, 3, 4. Doubleday gets 4. 1, 2. Let's just make this smaller. 3, 4. It's Wadsworth. That's Doubleday. And now the 13th, no, the 11th Corps, we decided they were going to stay in March. Buford. He got 2. Buford adds 1 on his own initiative. So Buford's cavalry are going to place 3 into the hat. There's 1 right there. 2, 3. And now the Union is set. I don't think I entered the Confederate ones. Hang on. Let's see here if I did. Oh, I did. Normally, you don't use the draw specific cards when you're playing opposed because it does kind of give you a chance to see what's in the hat, but it can also allow you to fix any problems you have while you're playing. So let's then just delete these because we don't need them. And now we have the orders phase. This is where all the units that are in good command shape within radius of their uh, commanders get a free order change. Start with the Union. So we have Wadsworth here. He will exercise a free order change to drop out of March and into advance orders. And Buford, he's going to stay in advance orders. He's happy where he's at. And our reinforcements, this is where we place them under March. Now, Doubleday, as we know, is out of command, and so he's going to have to try to change orders on his own initiative, and that is coming up shortly. For the Confederates, we have all these reinforcements. This is interesting. They could enter under March and start to really widen things and maybe even do an end around. Let's see. Let me also make a check to make sure that that is the area that they enter under, area 2. Let's see here. Where is the reinforcement card? And it is Pender. Yes, it is area 2. We will have other Confederates entering in area 3 starting next turn at noon. We'll have Confederates entering here to the north to cause no end of additional problems. So, okay. So we've got a Heath here kind of making a hash of his attack here. His whole division is there. We've got an artillery reserve there in the back. Got stuff coming in here next turn. I'm trying to figure out whether to send Pender to the Confederate left or the right. Seems like here is going to be an embarrassment at Ridges. We're going to enter here and in March. We could go down along Whistler's Ridge, come in around here, but we don't want to get too close to Doubleday because if he is successful in dropping out of March, he could mount an assault. However, if we stay... No, I think what we're going to do is we're going to enter in advance and just keep to the roads and trudge our way over there ourselves. So they will come in advance. Artillery is always in advance unless they're in a march column. Let's see. Pettigrew will stay in attack. Heath has a radius of only 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually, Davis is out of command. He's in advance because of his loose cannon result. He will have to change orders on his own. Pettigrew wants to stay in advance. Archer will stay there. Okay. So they're fine. Everyone has the orders that they want, and we're ready to go. So now we start with the Union march. So the first thing we do, and whatever you do for any activation, if any of the units affected by an activation want to try to change orders or to coordinate, they have to do that as the very first thing to do before anything in that organization moves. So the first thing we try to do is have Doubleday change his orders. And let's see. That's actually a question I have, is whether a division commander can change orders for the entire division by himself, or whether it has to go by brigade. Let's go to orders. Okay, the free order change is a division order change, but it seeps down to the brigade. So they don't get a chance to use that. So failing that, they have to do that on their own initiative by brigade. Wow. Okay. Okay, so let's do it this way. First of all, Doubleday will attempt to, let's still, yeah, he doesn't get a free division order change. So that has to happen by brigade. However, he can attempt to coordinate and increase the chances that a successful brigade change can move as one, but still, they would still have to operate under their orders. Not good. Okay, so Doubleday actually does not change orders himself. That ship has sailed. So we have to go by brigade. So let's start with the Stone Brigade, and as you can see by that red box with a -1, he gets a -1 to the die roll to change his orders. That is not good. So we will find the, where is it? Did I close that document? I think I may have. Let me find it. Open the player aid, there we are. All right, so you need 6 or more to change. We could get a change in stand, that would be fine too. So each of these brigade commanders has a -1 to their roll to change their orders. So we'll start with the Stone Brigade here, the lead brigade, and they roll a 9. So that's great. He changes his orders right away. Then we go to the replacement for, what's his name? Who was it? Rowley. Let's flip him back. Rowley commander also has a -1, and he rolls a 6, which becomes a 5. And a 5 is a change and stand order. So he also drops out, and he will have to stand for the first activation. All he'll be able to do is fire or rally. But that is still the effect that we wanted for this whole division, actually. Whoops. Let me change those. Okay, so Doubleday is successful in getting his division out of march orders. They are now under advance orders. Now, up here, these orders change as a result of the divisional order change. So they all drop out of march. Okay. These are going to stay in march. So now they will activate, and let's see where they want to go. All right. So it looks like Wads or what? I can never remember his name. Yes, Wadsworth. Wadsworth here is going to be able to set up a good line and for when next turn when the Confederates start coming out of here. So he's going to form the far right flank. We've got these guys are going to actually end up moving either into these woods or they could go up and spell Buford, allow them to disengage. And I think, yep, since they're there, they might as well form this. So let us have this march column come up and plug right into the center and allow Buford to head for the rear with no losses whatsoever, which is pretty much what happened in the real event. They were able to hold off Heath and emerge unscathed. Okay, so if they go up there, they'll be on a pike, and heading out of town is also a pike. So that's a half a movement point. Again, if they have 6 movement points for the infantry, that means, in effect, 12 hexes per activation. They can use 3 free of fatigue on the pike. So 12, 24, 36 hexes they can move. The artillery are in even better shape. They are immune to fatigue, so they can use 4 activations worth. However, their road and pike rate, I believe, is still 1. I don't think they get a bonus of a half, even though they should, being horse-drawn. Yeah, they would. Okay, so let's move this artillery first, since they might even be able to deploy. Okay, so a half a movement point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 1 activation's worth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 2 activations worth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And right there on the edge of that high ground there looks like a very good spot. Boy, these guns will be right behind them. Come on. Ah. Okay. Then they can also use a third activation's worth. Move off the road. And they can unlimber in a very good position. That's very nice. Okay. Now let's move these guys and march. So 6 double to 12 hexes times 3, 36 hexes on the road. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. And there's the vanguard. By brigade march. And there. Yep. Finally, these guys come in behind them along the road. There. Then we have our fearless leader who will move up here. He has 10 movement points. That's 20 hexes. Can he make that? Oh no, this is March, so he gets off 40 and is not subject to the overmove restriction during the leader movement phase. So that's that for them. Now, moving down here, we have the piss poor troops of O.O. Howard's corps, and he will. Oh boy. Who knows where these guys are going to end up going? We'll see where they're going to be needed. Might be worth it to keep them out of the way to keep them from getting shot to pieces again. So yeah, we're going to lead with the artillery here. So we have 4 8s are 32, doubled to 64 on a pike. These guys are going to literally be taking the freeway. So let's count off 64 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 39, 40, 42, 43, 44, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 1, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4. They can make it all the way here to thought that said Avery. Henry Bishops. All right. Okay. They can get as far as Henry Bishops. And there they are at 2 batteries of hex. Trailer up here. Actually, smaller batteries and trail. And him there. March. There's that. And now the foot sloggers will come in. And being such poor quality, we can't push them too hard. So let's start with these sad sacks. We'll move them 3 activations worth on the road, half a movement point for the pike, equals 36 hexes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 36. And we need an extended column. And drop down here. Bring the whole kit and caboodle. Start filling in here. This is von Gilsa at the head of the troops. Another large unit with an extended column. Love that clone feature. Go. Let's see what the size of these units are. Biggest unit first. Oh boy. We'll have Howard actually bring up the rear. Or wait, actually Howard does not come on yet. He's a leader, a corps leader, so we'll move Barlow to the back of the column so that he can more easily catch up and keep people in radius. Okay. See any questions? Yes, Robert, 64 hexes. That's basically, you've got all that artillery limbered up with horses, and you've got a nice macadamized road. And in good weather, and this is a 90-degree July day, they just clop, 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 clop right up the road. So, yeah, it is quite a movement boon. Okay, so we are done with the Union March chit, and we will deposit it over here and draw the first chit, and it's Pender. So the Confederate reinforcements start to make their presence felt. And we'll start them right up here. I'll pop up the overview again so you can kind of see or not lose track of what's going on. So we're up here in the northwest here. Pender's going to start coming down the same road Heath did. And here's where your Union units are. Here's Gettysburg with a division of Union traversing the town. Some reinforcements, the artillery for 11th Corps all the way up here opposite the ridge, and probably having a good gander at what wonderful high ground it is. The other troops are coming in behind. And here we go with Pender. So Pender activates. He does not need to change anybody's orders because he got his free order change as he enters. He does not need to coordinate brigades, so we move right to it. So I'm going to leave him off to the side here before I decide what to do with them, and we are going to start with Perrin's crack brigade, and we're going to move them on map, and with the idea that we're going to start to elongate the line here. So we're going to try to get here down this road, form up here on Hers Ridge. So to get there, we're going to have to get through the artillery, take a left turn here along the Whistler's Ridge Road, and march through here. Or, we might even go cross country because the road's not actually going to speed us up any. So let's start there. Perrin's boys coming on, starting here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And behind that, another regiment. And another regiment. So actually, it doesn't look like we're going to get very far in this because subsequent units that enter on the same hex spend the same amount of movement points to enter as the ones before them, unless they want to, say, use a different hex. They could use some of these hexes and come on in a wave, but getting through this here would kind of mess things up. Although, well, no, actually, let's do this. Let's say they enter here. That's the first hex. 1, no, 2, but wait, there's kind of that escarpment. What is that? Up a steep slope is +2, and they have to make a UDD for disorder. DR. Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't do any good to start getting disorder before you even get on the map. Well, they could do this. 1, 2, 3, They could end up not. Yeah. Okay. 3, 4, and 5, 6 to get to the top of the stack, shoving their way through the other unit, and they can clear the way for the next unit to enter. Let's say Aaron will go here. Jim Lane will enter next. Boy. I don't want to start too much of a log jam. They could enter here and form up in here, but eventually they're still all going to have to get to the road. So, okay. Well, these units will be assumed not to be using the road bonus. All the hexes still cost 1, and they can stack 15. So that's where these units can get by, and they don't have to use extended line markers because they're not saving anything. They can stay in column formation there. Okay. 14 to a hex there. That. Lane will pop on with them. Everybody else is backed up on the road. And there is Pender's division. Let's see. Now, let's see if we can get a little further in this turn. We got about a half hour more. Then I'm going to stop it at 3 hours. So let's go here. Move the Confederate chart there. And move Pender there. Having spent an activation. And now we draw the next one. And it's Pender again. Man, we're having a lot of luck with consecutive activations. So we continue. Now the artillery has not moved out of the way. So we're going to kind of go around him and pass through the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me actually change in there. 1 along the road. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Facing off of the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's hope that the artillery can get off of the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Aaron with them. There. Now we can finish moving Jimmy Lane's boys in. 3, 4, 5, 6. 2. They also don't have to use an extended line marker because they're still in clear terrain. And now we'll bring Pender on as well. Start to bring Scales on behind him. right. Artillery. Whoops. Sometimes Vassal freezes and doesn't want to. All right. And the leads of the group, or the worst ones, are going to kind of pile in back. And so that's second activation for Pender. Okay. Next activation is Buford. So Buford activates his first of 3. And what is he going to do? Buford can pretty much set up to be relieved. It is a Union objective to have him take as few casualties as possible, and I think they artificially ramp up the victory point value to the Confederates for Buford cavalry losses to try to um, force a bit of caution on the part of the Union commander, who otherwise has knowledge that Buford did not have in the real event. So let's let's play according to that mindset and assume, Buford has kind of done his job. Um, Wadsworth is showing up behind him. He's real happy about that, but they're not all quite there, and I don't think he wants to make an about face just yet, especially since the Confederates have yet to put in another attack on that position, which actually is a pretty good position. The only thing he has to worry about is once he does decide to leave, he doesn't want to have to go through hordes of Wadsworth's men. So, he wants to perhaps make sure that he doesn't create a logjam while he's retreating. Hmm. He could mount up, but again, he doesn't want to present mounted cavalry targets to onrushing Confederates unless, as they come over the ridge, if the troops are mounted, they can use withdrawal to affect their retreat. And I think that would be the smart thing to do. So, yeah, we are going to saddle up. So let's zoom in here and start replacing these units. We've got 12th Illinois. Let's go back to the Union, Buford's cavalry, one Gamble's, 12th Illinois. 12th Illinois, right here. Delete that unit. On up, boys. Then we have the 8th Illinois B, which I believe are these right there. And they mount up. And then we have the 8th Illinois A. And they mount up. Like my leaders pointing straight ahead. And then we have this unit, which is 8th New York B. Wait, what is that? 5th New York B. 3rd Indiana, where are they? 8th, 8th, 12th, 3rd, 8th New York A, 8th New York B. What have I got there? That's 8th Illinois. It's 8th New York. Okay, that's the difference. 8th New York B. That's the one. And then finally, 3rd Indiana. Where are they? Third Indiana. Good fellows, all of them. They all mount up. And mounting up will cost them half of the movement allowance that they end up in. So all these units now have 4.5, rounded up to 5 movement points to use. All right. And what they're going to do is they are going to not go anywhere just yet. They're going to make the Confederates crest this hill and then use reaction movement, which they can use for enemy units within a range of, or is it as they try to move adjacent to them, they can kind of skedaddle out of the way. Artillery can do it for units within range of 3. But cavalry, I think, let's see here, mounted. Um, Hmm, that's for facing change. Within 3 hexes of their present position. So it is mounted cavalry and artillery. Both have the capability to move in reaction with to enemy movement within 3 hexes. Great. Okay. So they're going to stay there. The battery can probably do the same, but let's see. Yeah, and with that 9 cohesion, they don't have to worry about the UDD that they would need to back off of that hill. Yeah, that looks good right there. Now the question is, where does Devin want to go? I think he wants to kind of just stay there too. Yeah. Yeah, Buford's in very good shape. There's no need for him to go anywhere. So he's done, and we will. Actually, he's only used 1 this turn. Just delete these 2. and move to the hat and pluck the next one, and it's Wadsworth. So now, let's zoom out one level, and let's see here. Now we shift our scene over here to Wadsworth, who is conferring with Reynolds and Wainwright, talking about what fine high ground we have around here. And there are already dust clouds appearing beyond Oak Hill. And so now let's see, where do we want to go? Let's zoom out a little bit and have a look at the map. Figure out where do we want to go. So we got these reinforcements are going to come up and form the middle here. We've got these units which successfully dropped on a march. They'll be able to defend these woods here. So we got a line here, here. What we need is a line for the reinforcements next hour that come here, and also to spell Buford's cavalry. So I'm going to move these guys and form, say, kind of a crooked Oak Hill and Woods line here. That seems like the best use of these troops. So let's now zoom back in and Lieutenant Hutt. Here we go. So we have Meredith and the Iron Brigade. Look at that cohesion. 9. That is nasty. So they cannot fail a lowercase d disorder unless it has some pluses on it and you roll very high. This is the Iron Brigade. And where are they going to end up? They actually ended up fighting some Confederates here in the unfinished railroad cut, but, well, Union hadn't been forced back that far. So, let's see. Let's put them in the woods here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and change facing there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't need the extended line marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They will retain that. Moving through the orchard. 6 there. And Meredith move to the front. And they'll stay with the actually shaky for this group, 19th Indiana. I'll move there. All right. And then we have the artillery, which I think can do the most good along this little knob here. So we'll move them in behind. Wainwright. We've got another brigade. Let's move them more northeasterly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll stay on the road. And don't need the extended line marker. Oh boy. Let's see. Reynolds or Wadsworth has a radius of 5 leader movement points. So, oh boy. I think he moves here to where the artillery position is planned to be. That'll be the best place for him. Reynolds does not move until the leader movement phase. And that's all for that division. So we go to Wadsworth and move that there. Next activation, Buford again. Buford still hasn't had any reason to retreat yet. So it still doesn't. The Confederates haven't come on yet. So he has no shot. Didn't have one until the Confederates come across the crests of the ridge. So nothing for Buford to do, but to actually place a note for inactivity. Let's see, where's the note? I'll say inactive 1 activation. That'll be so that he can use a third activation without incurring fatigue because he basically did nothing in 1 activation. So he skips that. And now we got a little bit of a rhythm going on here. Other ways you can I can denote this, I believe. No, in some games, in some Vassal modules, I have set up the activation markers to where they can be rotated, and I can use that to kind of show unused activation markers, but I didn't do that for this one. So next activation is Buford again. Wow. So he's basically going to hang fire. He's not going anywhere. And move there. We will change the note to read inactive for 2 activations. And on. Wadsworth gets a second activation over here, which he will be very happy to use. And the Iron Brigade continues their maneuvers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll get cute and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meredith will lead from the front. No extended marker needed. And we still have yet another unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move the battery into position. That's probably the best place for it to be. Is right there. Wainwright will move underneath it. And Cutler continue his cross-country jaunt. 3, 4, 5, 6. Gonna check and make sure those orchards only cost 1. For infantry, they only cost 1. They get in the cavalry's way though. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The orchards also do not block line of sight, interestingly enough. The nice straight rows of trees, and they're usually skinny citrus trees, so they don't block line of sight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cutler will go there. And that's it. Or wait. Let's see, that's the 1st Division. Yeah, that's different than these guys. 2nd Division. Yep, they're on their march anyway. And so that's it for them. Remove the moved markers. Place Wadsworth here, having used 2. And back to the hat. And it's Pender. Wow. It's amazing. Can't seem to find any of Heath's activations. All right, so we go back to Pender. Now this is Pender's 3rd activation, and that means that if Pender uses this activation, they will incur fatigue. And since they have absolutely no fatigue to speak of right now, what that means is all those brigades would go to fatigue okay. And so basically you get 2 gateway levels of fatigue. You get fatigue okay and fatigue 0 before you start to get to fatigue 1 and other levels, which actually start having detrimental effects on your troops' performance. So this early in the day, they can afford to take on okay if it'll get them into the fray faster and put pressure on the Union. So they're going to opt to use the use the 3rd activation. All right, so Pender will start with Perrin's brigade here in the front. They'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These guys will get creative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. These guys likewise go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. They will go 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Parent moves with them, and we raise his fatigue. Come on. Show high fatigue. Oh. There it is. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see that. Fatigue 0. Okay, that's that. Oops, we have one more unit from this brigade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we have Jim Lane. He will also show his fatigue. And oops, overdid it there. Control Q reduces it. 0. Oh, I actually forgot to put fatigue OK marks in this module. I will have to fix that. Interesting. So, well, anyway, I'll have to remember that they are at fatigue level OK rather than fatigue level 0. They're going to move along the road here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Jimmy Lane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we have the beginnings of the Zulu effect, as I call it. More rebels than you can shake a stick at. Okay, artillery. Yeah, let's bring the artillery. Okay, artillery can stack 12 guns or 2 batteries. Let's see what we've got here. The names: Brook A and B, Madison A and B, Charlotte A and B. Okay. So we can basically put 4 counters on the road. Actually fit all of those. We have an A, B, and a C there. Oh, there we go. That one goes there. It's all part of one gate. Finally, we have the worst of the lot showing up late. Thomas. And we have to, come on, add his fatigue. Oh, Pender. Still fine where he is. Or actually, he'll move up to be with his buddy Jimmy Lane. And Pender's done. Any other questions? Nope, no questions. Finishing up a nice stout here. And we are right at 3 hours. So actually, this looks like a good spot to end our telecast. I'll do another overview here so we can see that the Confederates continue to pour in. However, Heath is not making any headway, at least not yet in this turn, while facing off against Buford, who is similarly hanging fire and waiting for the Confederates to launch a new attack. And meanwhile, the Union are beginning to build a forward line with more reinforcements on the way from the south coming through Gettysburg, and also here to the south of Buford's position. They have a division here which looks like it's about face and head into these woods here along the ridge line to make a fight of it. We still have quite a few activations left to go. In fact, let me move Pender here to show that he has used 3 AMs. And that's where we are during the 11 o'clock turn of the first day of 3 Days of Gettysburg. So, I do have a question finally. When are you going to finish this? Maybe? Oh, man. Well, I don't plan to do anything close to finishing the entire battle. This was originally intended to be a kind of a tutorial to kind of show off the system mechanics and how the game goes, and kind of leverage the anniversary of the battle as a starting point. Um, I actually didn't even know that I was going to do this second uh, stream, but as we're seeing, we're adding many more troops and things are just starting to come to a boil and to get interesting. So I think I might actually do 2 or 3 more of these in the weeks to come, at least until we really start to see the Confederates start to outflank the Union right, coming in on both sides of Oak Hill up here. And when they start coming in here and pushing the Union back towards Gettysburg, that's kind of the meat of the first day. And it would be interesting to kind of see that all work out. So I think I will hang with this for a little while longer and announce some more podcasts and yeah, keep going with this. So thanks for the request. I think I will take you up on it. But for now, I believe I will stop here. I will end my log file. And I will also save the game situation. And the reason you save 2 files is because if you save a log file, you'll have to go step by step by step from beginning to the end of the log file to reach a new starting point. So a log file is to be used by, say, an opponent that you send your move to. A save file or a game state file is kind of just a bookmark or a placeholder that marks where you stopped. So let's see where, there we are. We'll go turn 5 and we'll save that and we'll stop there. So thanks everyone who showed up, and thanks to the 4 stalwarts who lasted all the way to the end. This has been another installment of Stiglr for the Details, and we will see you next time.